Have you ever wondered how much wealth the royal family has? Today we're going to talk about the top 10 secrets the royal family is hiding about their wealth. Number 10, properties. Yes, along with their huge and iconic Buckingham Palace, this family has a numerous amount of properties. Investing is always a good idea. You can never have too much money, right? Well, as we try to find out this mysterious amount of wealth this family actually has, let's take a look at the kinds of properties the members have. As if 2 palaces were not enough, add the St. James Palace to the list. This was once the former residence of the monarchs of England before the reign of Queen Victoria. With a total of 30 regal estates, the family owns a 50,000-acre estate in Norfolk, a Berkshire Wendy house, the infamous Kensington Palace, a couple cottages, castles, forts, and more. By the time I finish this list, I think the next in line of succession will be appointed. So all I'm gonna say is that the 30 properties are nothing less than intriguing. So I did the math, and if you wanted to stay for 1 month at each property, it would take 2.5 years to finish the tour. If I could sign up to be a royal, I would, just for that reason alone. The bloodline runs deep, and there are definitely a lot of things members of the family aren't familiar with themselves. As they say, a lot of things can be taken to the grave, but that doesn't mean there aren't people who are curious enough to go discover some stuff out for themselves. There have been many times the family has been exposed, including the kinds of things this family is involved with. Tax fraud is one of the issues that has come up with the family. This may or may not be surprising, but the late queen was once exposed for hiding her embarrassing wealth from the public. Queen Elizabeth's private lawyer was said to pressure ministers to alter proposed legislation to prevent her shareholdings from being disclosed to the public. And although the true scale of how much the queen was holding onto was never publicly announced, we can only assume it isn't any less than hundreds of millions of pounds. Newsweek reported that Her Royal Highness invested at least $13.1 million into offshore tax-sheltered funds located in the Cayman Islands and Bermuda. This prompted party leaders and anti-monarchists to investigate the Queen's finances, her private funds, the Duchy of Lancaster, which led them to discover that the Queen is avoiding $15 million in taxes on her $680 million duchy. Damn, the Queen is kinda sly. Coming in at number 8, we have the multiple cheating scandals. It shouldn't be a shock to realize that over the thousands of years the royal family has been around, there have been more than a few cheating scandals. More recently, the beloved future King Prince William is at the center of the speculations. One of the suspected affairs was with Rose Hanbury, a longtime family friend. This reportedly occurred while Kate was pregnant with the pair's 3rd child, Prince Louis. Yikes. When all this went down, Rose, who is Kate's best friend, apparently tried to steal her man. It is well known that Kate and Rose have had a terrible falling out. They used to be close, but that is not the case anymore, an insider alleged. While Kate tried to push Rose out of her social circle after the incident, William attempted to calm things down between the ladies. However, things went downhill when British socialite and food critic Giles Corrin tweeted, "Yes, it is an affair. I haven't read the piece, but I know about the affair. Everyone knows about the affair, darling." Corrin has a history of causing drama, and the tweet was deleted as fast as it was posted. Many royal experts have also denied the accusations over the years, but it doesn't stop the public from wondering, especially after similar rumors surfaced a few years earlier. In 2017, reports dropped that William danced romantically with not 1, but 2 women while in Switzerland. One person at the club commented, "He was dancing so wildly that I did a double take when I first saw him and thought it must be a lookalike. But before long, everyone realized they were partying with Prince William." What do you guys think? Do you think Will is a cheater? Leave it down in the comments below. Apparently the apple falls just a short distance from a tree. Besides the highly publicized divorce between King Charles and the late Princess Diana, there's a lesser-known cheating scandal involving Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. While there is no direct evidence that Prince Philip cheated on Queen Elizabeth, there were rumors throughout their long marriage that he was unfaithful. The most significant of those rumors is that Prince Philip met dancer Pat Kirkwood quite a few times. She denied them, but the palace never did. Kirkwood was a British stage actress, singer, and dancer who appeared in numerous performances of dramas. In 1954, BBC television broadcast The Pat Kirkwood Show made her the first woman appearing on British television to have her own series. Well, Philip has a thing for successful women, I guess. In number 7, due to mental health struggles, Princess Diana had thrown herself down the stairs in an attempt to get King Charles's attention. It was a known fact that the royal family never wanted any news about mental health struggles within the family to be exposed because they thought it would seem weak and vulnerable. So during an argument, Princess Diana at the time was pregnant with William and was so depressed that she turned to this attempt to harm herself just so that Prince Charles would listen to her. Sad. May the princess rest in peace. Unfortunately, it didn't get much of a reaction out of Charles, who completely dismissed the situation. Coming in at number 6, we have their interrelations. The royals really like to keep it in the family. Everyone talks about their family tree, but it resembles more of a wreath with the number of times their relationships wrap around. When looking back at the reign of Queen Victoria, scholars are likely to mention the positive changes it meant for the British Empire. Her 63 years and 216 days of rule became known as the Victorian era, a period even non-history buffs have heard of. The lesser known fact about our dear Vicky though, she married her cousin. The couple first met on Victoria's 17th birthday in April 1836 when she was heir to the British throne. Their uncle, King Leopold I, introduced them. In their memoirs, Albert and Victoria record that they almost instantly fell in love. Gross. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert went on to have 9 children, 4 boys and 5 girls. The cousin-loving gene was passed along because as recently as Queen Elizabeth II, it popped back up. The romanticization of Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth's relationship wasn't enough to overshadow their relations like it was with Victoria and Albert. Prince Philip was related to Queen Victoria as a great-great-grandson through his maternal side, and his future wife was related to the same queen through her paternal family. The two met at family gatherings as children. The first was when then Princess Elizabeth was 8 and Philip was 13. Years later, the two met again when she was only 13 years old. While the two didn't begin a physical relationship then, they started exchanging letters. Prince Philip was 18, which seems a little too old if you ask me. Indeed, there have probably been other occasions of royal DNA sharing, but spouse sharing is another interesting aspect of royal life. In 1970, Princess Anne, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's only daughter, dated Andrew Parker Bowles. Just a few years later, Andrew would marry Camilla, who married Charles in 2005 after having a long affair with him during his marriage to Princess Diana. To put it in perspective, imagine your sibling marrying someone and you have the same ex as them. Weird. Even weirder though is sibling hopping, which of course has happened in the royal family too. Prince Charles and Princess Diana were married for 15 years, which is impressive considering their relationship's many ups and downs. However, Prince Charles dated Diana's sister first. The future couple was actually introduced by Diana's sister Sarah, whom Prince Charles dated before beginning his relationship with Diana. While not illegal or technically wrong, that detail about the new king is bizarre. In number 5, they pack supplies of their own blood. When I say the royal family thinks of everything, I mean everything. The scenario of needing a blood transfusion is not impossible, so the late Queen would, and now King Charles and Prince William, bring their own along with the Royal Navy doctor. They really are prepared for a lot, just in case of any scenario. Speaking of just in case scenarios, in number 4, the royal family's huge travel budget has more to do than just them having a lot of money. With one trip back in 2017 costing them $5.8 million, it puts into perspective how much thought they must be putting when traveling. A few royal travel protocols they must follow include color-coded luggage, traveling with an entourage, and packing a black outfit just in case they need to attend an emergency funeral. Another rule is that royal heirs can't travel together just in case a plane goes down, because they don't want to lose more than one heir if it came down to it. I guess that makes sense, but it's very dark to think about and even consider. Duplicates of every outfit are a must. This weird rule is more to upkeep their pristine look than anything else. Just in case of spills or stains, the royals make sure they have an easy-to-change pair of clothing. I get it, with the amount of pics that are taken of the family, I wouldn't want to find out I spent the whole day walking around with spilled coffee on my clothes through pictures. They've literally had so many racism scandals, it's crazy to think they've gotten away with it, regardless of them being part of a royal monarchy. The most recent inappropriate and tone-deaf situation that had happened was when Princess Michael of Kent recently caught the media's attention for wearing inappropriate brooch to the Queen's Christmas luncheon at Buckingham Palace. The piece of blackamoor jewelry is considered dated and racist. This definitely had people wondering why she would wear it, especially around Duchess of Sussex Meghan Markle. Another problematic example was exposed within Oprah's interview when Meghan admits that there was a conversation about how dark Archie's skin tone would be. Prince Philip had a history of making racist, tone-deaf, ignorant, and overall offensive comments stretching back nearly 40 years. With many instances that highlight his behavior towards other cultures and ethnicities, here are a few examples that he should have known better than to say or even think. During a visit to China, he recounted Beijing as being ghastly and joked about British students becoming slitty-eyed if they stayed there too long. It seems like Prince Philip would have benefited from a few lessons of anatomy. He poked fun at the kinds of food Cantonese people traditionally eat and once asked a native person if they still throw spears at each other. We can only hope that the controversies Prince Philip started helped the other members of the royal family to educate themselves on cultures around the world, especially if they plan on continuing to travel globally. And finally, in number 1, we have hidden family members. While most of the royal family is on display like an art exhibit gone rogue, there have been moments throughout history where they try to hide away the regal members they don't deem adequate for the public eye. Prince John was the youngest son of King George V, the Queen's grandfather. When he passed away at only 13 years old, we didn't hear anything about him again. The young boy reportedly had epilepsy, and the royal family used a familiar tactic to cope: hiding the child from public view. Royal biographer Christopher Wilson has documented that some family trees entirely leave out Prince John's name. If they feel they have somebody that isn't up to snuff, they want to write them out of the history books, which happened in Prince John's case, Wilson said. This wasn't the first time the royals had hidden away family for the sake of a public image. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon were first cousins of Queen Elizabeth. They were each born with mental disabilities and were hidden away at the Royal Earlswood Institution for mental defectives at ages 22 and 15. Their family also reported the girls passed in 1961 to hide their existence from the public even further. Catherine and Queen Elizabeth were born in the same year, but because the family had little to no understanding of navigating mental disabilities, they lived incredibly separate lives. Nerissa lived another 25 years after being initially labeled deceased, and Catherine only perished in 2014. Crazy to think about the people who are supposed to love you most abandoning you for something out of your control. That is all for the top 10 crazy secrets the royal family has been hiding. If you enjoyed this tea, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.